Hi, welcome back to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. Kenny Fogel here with you. Glad you could be with us. We're going to talk a little bit about a school that, well, it's not around anymore, but the influence of it is. It's been around for many, many years in Bardstown and Nelson County, and the influence goes far beyond the borders of Nelson County. As a matter of fact, it probably goes quite international all over the world, and that's St. Joe Prep. And if anybody has ever known much about Bardstown, the history of St. Joe Prep is a very rich history. It goes back and what made Bardstown what it is today. And I've got Jude Talbot and Bill Reisert here with me today, and they both alumni of St. Joe Prep, and very proud to be so. So first, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, now again, St. Joe Prep. Just give me just a little bit of a history of it. I know when it opened, when it closed, and all the little basics there in between.
Bill's a historian.
Bill's a historian on that. So it's all yours.
We had a movie made, it's been several years ago, and a fellow by the name of John Coulter. And he dug out all the facts that I think are going to be pretty accurate. 1911 was St. Joe was started, and you got to see that movie if you really want to interest yourself in St. Joe Prep and the fact that during the Civil War, that institution over there was used to house not only Union soldiers, but Confederate soldiers. And of course, they weren't mad at one another at that time. But in 1968, it closed, and you lost a tradition here in Bardstown. That's why we're still with it. We loved the school. It was good for us.
Well, let's just go into a little bit of the curriculum now. It's an all-boys school, basically, and the word prep, basically, I think that's it a little bit. It distinguishes itself a little bit from just a regular high school.
Supposedly, I guess, yes, it's St. Joe Preparatory. And the youngest graduate of St. Joe Prep was a local guy by the name of Tommy Reed. I think Tommy is about, I won't tell his age, but 1968, and he was a senior in high school then, so you can figure it out real fast. But he, as far as I know, is the youngest graduate of St. Joe Prep. And it was a tremendous school. They had boarders from all over. Bill could tell you all about the boarding life and all, and then day hops like myself. We'd live in town or in the surrounding area. We would go to school, do whatever, all the extracurricular activities, and then we'd go home at night. He'd go to a room with 4 or 5 other kids. So it was
very much a college type setting, very much.
Right.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the brothers. I mean, everybody here has a brother story.
Well, to me, they were some of the finest people there was. There were some right vicious ones there, and you didn't get out of line too much. They always got you back in line real fast. But I can tell you one quick story about what they did for me personally. When I was up until I was in the 6th grade, 7th grade actually, I had a speech impediment. And not to say anything bad about the nuns, but the nuns at Bethlehem were so overcrowded, they really couldn't help me. But the first year I went to St. Joe, I was a 7th grader. And after about 2 or 3 weeks, one of the brothers would start the class, he'd get us going. About halfway through the class, he put me up in front of him, put a mirror in front of me. He'd start with the ABCs. I would watch him. I'd look in the mirror. I would try to pronounce it. I made it all the way down to R's after maybe a month or 2. I got up there and I could not pronounce an R to save my soul. He got aggravated, I guess, told me to get your butt in that bathroom back there and you get your big mouthful of water and you go, ah, and that's how I learned to pronounce an R. And after that year, I didn't have any trouble. So I owe them a blessing.
Well, that is fantastic. But discipline was something that was very much a part of the curriculum there.
Right. You didn't get out of line. If you did, you got back in line real fast, either on your own or with their help.
Well, even all this discipline and some people talk about how tough the curriculum was. Bill, you still attracted people from all over the world. People wanted to come here. What attracted them to
Well,
St. Joe
not
Prep?
necessarily wanted to come.
Okay.
You know, I used to say St. Joe was the most beautiful school I've ever seen in the rearview mirror. And, you know, the freshman year, you're away from mom and dad, and you're wondering, well, what do I do? You know, who do I cry to? Well, you have to take care of the problems yourself. And it teaches you to grow up and respect the brothers and so forth. Although you do challenge them. I got to be a senior. My dad, I know he wanted me to come back to Louisville. I loved this place. I didn't want to go back. So I stayed 4 years. My senior year, we got to wear the white jacket. That means you got to run into the room where they kept the milk and the cream was on top. Before the brothers would get there, we would take the cream off the top because we were now there. We were waiters. But if you played athletics, you were tired. But we had mandatory study hall. And so you'd go to study hall and naturally you might fall asleep. Of course, you tried not to. They had a rector there that made certain that you didn't, but you did. Anyhow, the next day, the prefect of discipline was a French teacher, and he was having a French exam, and I took mysteriously ill. And so I went to the infirmary and checked myself in. There was nobody there. So I got the thermometer and put it under the hot water, and it went up to 108. So I shook like the devil to get that thing down, and I couldn't. So it was the only thermometer in the place, so I broke it. And then I hopped in bed and missed the French exam. And later that day, one of the boarders came into the infirmary, and they said, "Bill, we got a trip to Louisville." That's my hometown. I thought, oh boy, I miraculously recovered from whatever I had. I went down to the prefect, who was a French teacher, and I knocked on his door and I said, "Brother, I understand you have a trip to Louisville." Wham, that door slammed and there was a mark for. So you don't challenge the brothers. Of course, when I got home, my mother and dad asked, "What happened to you? You had a mark, on your face?" I said, "I ran into a door." So
Or the door ran into you, one of the two.
I didn't drop them in. But,
You didn't give the details.
no, but you learn to do the right thing. If you did the wrong thing, you paid the price. And in that case, I paid the price.
Now, I know the history that it closed in 1968, and I'm sure money had a considerable part to do with that. But is the fact that discipline? I mean, a lot of discipline that you don't see it in schools today, like you did back then. And I don't know if there was a change in attitude about that time. Well, obviously not among students, but maybe parents or society or something. What really led to the final closure of St. Joe Prep?
I think probably the lack of vocations from brothers.
That's a good
They're
point.
losing teachers that way, people. So I would say that probably was the number one cause.
And back then, obviously, there was different. Latin was a big issue. I mean, you don't see that taught in school much anymore. But and then there are several other things. Got a the St. Joe Prep athletics you mentioned just a few minutes ago. I believe there's stories of the football team going down beating St. X one time, I believe, or maybe more than once.
I don't remember that.
That's before our time.
Okay, well, I can't remember who was telling me that story, but I know that was one of the stories going around. But yeah, like I said, you've had a lot of alumni still around this area, but have moved into bigger, better things.
Well, the one thing I don't understand, at St. Joe, they taught religion, and God was mentioned. Jude was a principal for many years at Bardstown. I don't know if he could do it today or not with the changes that have happened in society. But God gave us the talents we have. God put us here, and St. Joe helped us realize who we were and why we were where we were. So,
I think maybe though they taught religion, but they didn't push it down your throat.
Yeah.
That you knew what they were talking about, you knew what you needed to learn, but at the same time, it wasn't something that they just drove home every day. You know, just they did it by example more so than.
Now I know you all have reunions on a regular basis for the alumni, but are many of the brothers still around, or do you have anybody that ever shows up for that?
There's always, every year, there's at least one or two that will be there now. Some of them have, of course, died. Some have gotten out of the order, but there's always one or two back. And I missed the big reunion this year, but I was there for Saturday, but I missed the part on Sunday, which is the big dinner and all. But there was two former brothers, former teachers, there for Saturday, I know.
Do you still feel that closeness, though? I mean, I guess what I'm saying is with the St. Joe alumni, because I know that when you graduate from some schools, everybody heads off to the four winds, and you never see each other the rest of your life. But that's not necessarily so with St. Joe Prep.
No, it's we don't go out of our way too much or whatever, but we keep up with each other. We know where everyone, or not everyone, but we know a lot about each other and try to keep it as close as we possibly can.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Like I said, it's got a rich history, Nelson County and Bardstown, and people, again, from all over the world have been there, and people that have been there are now spread out all over the world, so it's got a very international flavor that a lot of schools can't talk about.
As day hop, we used to laugh at the boarders because a lot of them were there not by choice, but by parents' choice.
Yeah.
And so we knew that because Bill Reiser had a few problems, so Mom and Daddy sent them to St. Joe Prep, straighten them up.
Well, Bill, you think you're a better person by going to St. Joe?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm listening to you, and I forgot what I was going to say.
We have a tendency to do that.
You get to that age. But we have, at the Alumni Association, we have a man named Pete Bitzer, 92, who's an inspiration to us all. He comes back with his girlfriend. Now, I don't know her age. I'm not going to ask her. But
they're great dancers.
Is that right?
They
They
dance well. Every song.
And people like Nap Doherty, who comes here from Baltimore every year, and Jeff Van Note, who played football for 17 years as center of the Atlanta Falcons, is here. And his coach was Dickie Walker, who didn't go to school here, who does come. This year we had 202 people, which is good because we're down now. And when Rhodey Wheeler reads the death,
you had to bring up Rhodey's name. But
there's a program.
Is Rhodey a success story, or I'm not going to get into that.
But he does read the names, and it seems like he's going to be there a little longer.
Oh yeah, Rhodey will be around forever.
Yeah.
But you had, I know Hayden Spalding's always given me some, he's one I believe talked to me about the football years ago, and it was always helping keep me up on things. And of course you had Hal Moore attended there for a while, Hal Moore, the General Hal Moore, so I know he was one of your alumni, lived in this area, but before he went off to West Point, so it prepares people.
A couple of movie stars. Who were they?
Victor Mature.
Victor Mature.
Is that right? I did not know that.
He didn't graduate from there, but he
well,
was
at least
there.
the fact he attended there. Huh. So, well, that's fantastic. Like I said, you hear people all the time. Everybody that talks about St. Joe Prep always, you can see a little glow. I mean, when you start talking about St. Joe Prep, you see a little glow. And that's why I guess it's a little disappointing to know that it is not there anymore, and that it did fade away before some of us got the opportunity to go there.
Charlie Spalding comes to mind, Hayden Spalding's dad. What a wonderful man he was. We had a little get-together. Jude and I were fortunate enough to be on a state championship baseball team. And I lived in Louisville, Kentucky, and didn't have a ride home. Guess who took me home? Charlie Spalding. So you don't forget things like that. It's a warm community here, and I love the people. Happy anniversary to Pike Conway and his wife, Marie. Hopefully they get to see this 65 years. And that's the time
Oh,
you get to know the people.
You do,
and
you
you
do.
get close to them.
Okay. Well, before we get out of here, I'll be remiss, Jude. I want to talk just 1 second. I want to take away from St. Joe Prep just for a second. Got a grandson headed to Green Bay Packers, I understand.
He's
So you got to be proud of that.
He's with them right now. He was up there for about 3 weeks, and then it was dead period. So they all went home. He was home for about 3 weeks. Now he's back. Went back yesterday, and somewhere between now and the 1st of September, we'll know if he's going to make it or what's going to happen to him. But so far, so good.
Well, it's quite an honor just getting the opportunity to
just
play
be
it
up-
right there, right now.
Just to be up there in that area with that stadium right in front of you,
Oh.
and the Packers all over the place, and it's a great, tremendous honor. If he comes home tomorrow and doesn't make it, well, I have no quarrels.
You'll still be a cheesehead.
Oh yeah.
Well, Bill, we appreciate you coming down here from Louisville to spend some time with us today and talk
Thanks
about
for
St. Joe.
having us.
And again, you're right. John Coulter put out an exceptional video. So if anybody gets a chance to see the film about St. Joe, it is John Coulter. It's available in several places here in Bardstown. I even think the Nelson County Library has it in case you can't find a place to buy it. But it's a remarkable story about one that went off from
It was.
1911 to 1968. Again, it's just a shame it's not here anymore. So I just admire the fact that you all went through a very good institution, and hopefully, like you said, turned out much better for it. And so hopefully all the community did.
We enjoyed it. It was a great time and a great part of our lives.
All right, well, Bill Reiser and Jude Talbot here with us talking about St. Joe Prep, formerly here in Bardstown, and it's still in the hearts and minds of a lot of people for a long time to come. Stick around, a lot more to come here on Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. We'll be right back.